laws are effective on the ground. And right now in the program, we are joined in our studios by Dr. Ajay Kumar, who is a member of Parliament Lok Sabha of the Jharkhand Vikas Morcha. Welcome to Public Forum. Dr. Kumar, we were discussing how, 8 months after the Delhi gang rape, another such horrific incident has come to light. Of course, there have been a series of similar incidents as well. But in these 8 months, we have given ourselves a strict anti-rape law. Do you think just enacting laws is not enough?
No, I think enacting laws is important, obviously, but the problem is, I think, in terms of implementation. So actually, what's happened is the basic philosophy of criminal justice system is that the deterrent should be that the people should believe that they'll get caught. So caught first, and then once you're caught, the judicial process will be quick enough to convict you if you're guilty. And that is the reason why people are and that's what scares me. The general belief is that I can get away doing it.
Right.
And that is on the foundation of which the criminal justice system is based on. So enacting the law, the parliament has to enact, but police reforms, the police resources, the technology in terms of it, and then comes to the conviction of cases. So, and I don't know, I've not been since I left the police is over 14-15 years back. But one thing which is totally, I see it as was our investigation is non-scientific fundamentally in terms of scientific evidences, physical evidences. So we rely on oral evidences, statements, which over a period of time change, and then there's no fast-track court system. So all this together, if you combine, is a perfect storm. And yeah, so that's so I think the laws are not, the laws are critical, but like Dowry Act, you pass on a law and the dowry that's keep coming because they think they can get away with it.
Okay, so the law alone is not a deterrent.
Because people believe, because execution, the last mile connectivity in India on any law, we are. So there is a survey which says that India is the 170th in governance. So all this leads to poor implementation of law by the civil servant and the lack of check by the political leadership. Okay. Both are the reasons why we are in such a bad shape.
Okay, Mr. Raja, you wanted to come in here?
Actually speaking, rape is a heinous crime. So how to deal with such crimes? It's a legal question, and I think there Saroj was very right. The due process of law should be allowed to take, and we believe in rule of law. We are a democracy. But it is not just a law and order issue. It is a crime. Our society as a collective, what we should do. Okay. There I think what we should change our mindset, as Saroj was emphasizing, so that we give the equal status to our women, gender equality, their due space in our society, and then only they must feel they are equal, and they are not just objects of sex, or they should not be made commodities. Okay. And now in an era of neoliberal developments, women are treated as commodities. Commodification of women has become a very distressing trend. Okay. How to curb this trend? How to treat women as women? Treat them as human beings, as fellow citizens. That mindset is not there. That's why it is a patriarchal society, which undermines the position of women, their rights. This has to change. So as a society, we will have to introspect and we will have to move forward. There, I think political parties have a role to play, several social organizations have to play a role, and because that is very important. And yes, policing is important, but always we can't rely upon police only, and always we can't rely upon judiciary only.
Right.
Yes, police will have to do its job, judiciary, courts will have to do their job,
Right.
but as a society, as voluntary political parties or different democratic organizations, what is our responsibility?
Okay, we'll talk about the role of political parties, the civil society.
I need to add something to it, because this whole issue of rape, for instance, goes much beyond sexuality also. It's a kind of issue where the male wants to assert his dominance, because otherwise nothing else explains the fact that even 2-year-old,
Right.
5-year-old, I mean, children are getting raped. Forget about children, I mean toddlers who can barely walk or speak. I mean, they are also victims of this kind of assault, sexual assault.
Right.
So it's a kind of a mindset which goes beyond sexuality. I don't know what to call it also. I mean, if you take women as a gender, you know, whether from a 1-month-old to a 70-year-old woman, nobody is safe. Forget about a child born, even a girl child in the womb is not safe.
Right.
What do you call it? It's a question that goes beyond sexuality. As I said, it deals with a woman as the fact that she's a female.
Okay.
Right from the womb to her
So it's to do
deathbed,
with
it goes to
our
everything.
mindset. It's to do with
Yeah,
the mindset.
I mean, whether
Yeah, Dr. Kumar.
You know, one more thing, like pick up on what Mr. Raja said is patriarchal society, and how, and we can keep discussing it on, you know, changing mindsets, and but it's going to, but the fundamental issue is equality of women in terms of the share of property. You see, Kerala or certain parts of Tamil Nadu and Karnataka, or you know, wherever. So the issue is also where the position of women, the equality of women in front of law, the, you know, the right of women to the property of her parents and everything else in terms of. So those are, we have to break away from the traditional so-called you know, changes, medieval or whatever changes, demands in the Indian society, and push also legislations in terms of how to give this as a fundamental, you know, as a right to the women in terms of or property, share of property of the parents, etc., etc. And then I think it also comes, because it's a power game at the end of the day.
yes.
You know, it's a power game at the end of the day. So if women are equal, they, you keep saying women are equal. What do we have as legislators or as public servants or whatever, in terms of shifting that you know, compass towards equality instead, because it's very skewed towards the male.
Also,
One second,
sure.
coming back to what Saroja said, the question of sexuality, how we understand that, because there is no scientific education of sex, adults or children. There are many superstitions, beliefs about the sexually transmitted diseases. There are so many things kept in mind. Then how to prevent the crimes, how to prevent the crimes. Again and again we will come to that point.
Right.
Because we all agree it is horrendous crime. This cannot be tolerated. There must be zero tolerance to such crimes. We all agree.
But Mr. Raja, it's not just about rape or, you know, sexual assault. It's also about brutalization of the victims.
No, there the question of what Saroja said, there is a point. This asserting the masculinity in caste conflicts in our country, or communal conflicts in our country, such things keep happening. To assert the masculinity of one section, such things happen. But in ordinary circumstances, when a girl walks independently, why should she be attacked? And now people are talking about the dress code, why women should wear such dress,
yes.
why children should wear such dress. It is none of the business. Why my daughter walks, why should anybody take objection to what she wears or how she wears? And that is where we should understand the body and soul of a girl or of women is important. Nobody has the right to hurt the body and soul of a woman.
Right.
And that understanding should be developed and inculcated in the minds of the males.
Okay.
And this is very important. It's very sad. People talk, oh, the women wear such dresses, they invite. Yeah,
Right.
what is this funny argument they are giving? It is a ridiculous argument, because a girl or a woman wears in a particular way, or
In these, the whole moral police brigade taking charge of, what a woman should wear, and talking about even closing times for bars and how women should not work after dark, and that they should not wear certain kinds of clothes. What does it tell us?
I think it's rubbish. I mean, this is just a kind of a fig leaf to hide their own actions that they've committed, or which the which perverted males in society commit. Because as I mentioned, if that was the case, if what you're wearing is going to be the yardstick for a rape, then why, as I said, a 2-year-old being raped? Nothing explains that. Why is a 5-year-old being raped? Why is a 70-year-old woman being raped? So it's not a question of what you're wearing. It's just a question that you're a female, you're a woman, and hence I can do what I want with you. That is the attitude that needs to be changed, and that needs to be broken. And as I said, it's a question not only of changing the mindset of a woman or of a man, but or has been raped, or my daughter-in-law has been raped, and punish the guilty. You shouldn't hide, that it's a social stigma, and hence we should not publicize
we should
it.
not dramatize them.
You
further.
should-
Time for us to take yet another break in the program. Stay with us. We'll be back with the final segment of the show. Welcome back to Public Forum. We are discussing the fallout of the Mumbai can be done to fight sexual violence. Dr. Kumar, the role of the police here now, since you've been a former IPS officer, there's definitely a case for better policing, but there's only so much the police can do. It's very difficult to guard every corner or deserted area in the city, especially a city like Mumbai, which has a very poor police to population ratio. And also, according to some statistics, the NCRB data, in fact, 98% of the rape cases are committed by people that are known to the victims. In such a case, what can the police do?
See, one thing we need to understand that in the criminality structure, everybody graduates through crime. Okay. So a guy who steals, makes a small theft or picks a pocket, then goes to bigger and bigger, by and large.
Okay.
So it's not that all these people would have definitely molested. Chances are very high.
Okay.
The question is that they went to somebody went to the police station and it didn't get reported, one. Secondly, the process of reporting of a police station is really absolutely pathetic. So the debate has been like, we've been discussing in the parliament, like online registration of FIRs.
Right.
Because but there is a lot of resistance and fundamentally, actually speaking, why should there be a debate on registering an FIR online? Because if you go to the police station, technically by law, you should be able to register an FIR immediately. But the process is impossible. I couldn't register an FIR, and I've been after I left and I was in politics, so it's so difficult. So all crimes, if you look at it, is one of the primary reason is we suppress crime. And if you go deeply into it, all these guys would have done some kind of minor molestation. So I agree with you that it happens within the family, most of it. You may not be able to, but the fact is that these things happen. And the fact is you need to be careful. So I think it's a huge amount of education and transparency. And secondly, when it comes to, like correctly said, when we come to discussing sex, we suddenly become so what you call falsely modest. It's necessary after a certain age to discuss what are the issues, and it's not and it's important to talk it in a sensible manner. And talking about it sensible is not making you promiscuous, but it's actually saving and exposing the wrong myth. So I think you have to deal with it from and I come to my favorite point, which I keep saying is deterrence by convictions, quick, and quick means 2 months, 1 month. That is one of the fastest measures. And education, like my colleagues have said, and Saroj and Dr. Raja and Mr. Dias and everybody has said. So those are fundamental perspectives of dealing with it.
Okay, Ms. Nagi, what do you have to say about that? In 98% of the cases, the perpetrator is known to the victim, turns out to be a relative or a friend.
Yes, I think that's very true, because it happens within families, among relatives, and in your neighborhood, people known to the families. So, insofar as a solution to this issue, there cannot be a foolproof solution, but what is required is that this education or this change of mindset has to start, as I said, from the family itself, moving on upwards, then to the neighborhood, community, whatever, where all kinds of social mechanisms and other institutions have to be brought into the picture to deal with this thing. Now, we've heard of cases, you know, where as I said, the child has been molested by her brother or by her uncle or sometimes even by the father. We've heard of these perverse cases also. So I think it requires a multi-pronged.
So many cases now.
Yeah, yeah.
So many cases by own daughters.
Yeah, own daughters also. So what it requires is a multi-pronged approach. You just cannot say that let's have a lot of cases that have happened, including of, you know, whether it's Kerala or whether it's Maharashtra. There have been so many cases which are still unresolved, and the accused have still not been punished. Forget about the fast-track court that we've had vis-a-vis the Delhi rape case. I mean, there are cases which go back to 2 decades also, and no punishment has been meted out so far. What do you have to say about those kind of things also? So I think at various levels you will need action and implementation and education, advocacy.
So, Mr. Raja, clearly enacting laws is the easier part here. The actual difficulty is implementing them in such a way that they become a deterrent for the future.
Definitely we need law. After all, we believe in law. We believe in rule of law. So we need law. And how we can implement the law, it is next stage. There, I think the governments must, they have the major responsibility, because police is with the government, judiciary, independent judiciary we have, and the implementation of law is equally important, and policing is equally important. And when we talk of police, we should be very careful, because he was in the police service, because police should be more friendly. In Tamil Nadu, we used to write, police is your friend. Whether they really behave as friend of people, really they understand the desperate calls or reporting of women who have been attacked like that. So we will have to educate police forces also. I am for educating. There we talk of police reforms and educating the police, making them more sensitive to the problems of our women and children. Women and children. It is an important part. We can blame the law is not implemented. While the need for implementing the laws and judiciary. When it comes to judiciary, there are also problems. We talk about independent judiciary, but in the courts also, I don't want to use victims, these rape victims, but the women who have been assaulted like that, the way they are treated or they are handled, that is also problem. You must be knowing the questions which are posed to the young girl or young women or women. So it is a comprehensive issue. We'll have to see the comprehensive approach. Everywhere we need scientific, and finally even is there something wrong with our males? Definitely, the point is we have mental sickness. We do not discuss openly, and in fact, if I go by some statistics, 1/3 of our people suffer from mental sickness. Mental sickness may vary
absolutely
from person to person, but it is there. And when in a country like us, where there is unemployment, there is social dropouts, and families are breaking, you have some kind of breed of some people who are potential criminals. So we'll have to, that is where I think we'll have to strike at the root of this problem. As a society, we should strive for gender equality, treat women as human beings, fellow human beings, fellow citizens,
Right.
give them their due place. It is not some pity you are showing to women.
Right.
Give their rights. And I am one who believes this is an unequal society.
See, that's an interesting thing. By and large, the political class which we all belong to and the bureaucracy doesn't want a police reform. No, this is a fact. If you have an honest police, then a lot of us will be, in trouble. So that is the root cause. That's the registering of. So we have this 19th century Police Act, and the police actually is in the 19th century. And it is a police structure for a colonial power, and it is only meant for exploitation. It is not modernized for 100 years. If you go to a court and sit in a court, it's a nightmare because everything is on oral evidence. And in 20 years, everybody forgets the statement. There is no fingerprinting. There is no DNA. And all this is happening in the world 20 years by 30. So first of all, you might pick up one NIA team has, and there'll be a lot of arguments saying that the NIA team has that stuff, infrared and all that stuff. So one is that we are very primitive in terms of science of policing. The police reforms is actually for the political class and the bureaucratic class to push. Take a simple example, like what Mr. Raja said was absolutely, 98% of the police budget is on revenue expenditure, is on salaries. There is no money for training, there is no money for promotion, there is no money for hospital, there is no money for education, there is nothing. So you actually have unlicensed, powerful people with no accountability. So it's actually sort of a, bordering to, close to getting into becoming a vigilante force like a Gundaism, frankly speaking. So we need to address this issue. There is no.
We come across custodial rapes.
Custodial rapes.
Right, that's a serious
But
issue.
I think the crux is, have you seen any powerful woman ever getting molested? No, by and large, right? So what everybody is agreeing is that it starts so multi-pronged. But the most important thing is property rights also is significantly important. The role of women in society in terms of ensuring power, that she is also an equality in terms of, what Mr. Raja said or Saroja said or Mr. Charles's police quick disposal of cases.
So
This
we
is
are,
one part of the problem. This is one property rights, one part of the problem, and that is the root cause for domestic violence mostly. But in Mumbai case, there is nothing like property rights.
Right.
This photographer went there with her friend, and some guys appeared there and tortured them and subjected the photographer to such an ordeal. Why such things happen? What is the behavior? Unrelated. These people go and now many reports are appearing that that place used to be a den for drug addicts or mentally perverted guys roaming over, all these things. So how to clean up such things? There I think the police can play a role.
But I come to this thing. Unreporting, you see, it's very interesting. Across the world, policing these are not new to India or across the world. And very simple police thing is, if you have a glass broken in a building and you don't catch the guy who broke the glass and don't fix it, the whole building will be broken in 2 weeks' time.
Right.
Same thing with crime, that there would be drug addicts sitting there doing petty thefts. You don't report these crimes because the police doesn't want to report a high crime because the nation believes.
Right.
You see, if you look at the population increase and increase in crime, we look like a country of saints here.
Right.
No, seriously, we are the most pious people in the world because based on these records, our crime has not increased at all.
Right.
And that is absolute nonsense.
So the answer lies here again in effective policing.
Changing the way we look at crime. Crime should be reported, policing, and accept that crime will increase with increase in population. But there is a premium on police commissioners not to report crime. When I was an SP, the first thing you say, "Tumhare ilake mein crime kyun badh raha hai?" From small delinquency to large delinquency, it's an absolute what you call standard truth. What do you call self-evident fact.
see,
Okay.
in a diverse country like India, moral pressure will not work.
Absolutely.
Only with severe punishment. Fast track courts. And not this kind of fast track courts. It should be, as Ms. Saroj has pointed out, it should be limited. There should be a time bar. the severe punishment only, it can be checked. And the case of that juvenile person who is now, I am not going deep into that because again it should be sub judice.
Correct.
And the judgment is reserved in that
Right.
matter. So such persons will escape with this. Then this kind of matters are going on and going on, and with this kind of cases dragging, our system is somewhat became ineffective. It has become ineffective.
Right.
So we have to think over it.
Okay,
There's
well,
no fear
yeah.
of the law.
No, there's no
actually.
There is no fear of the
You'll
law.
get away
No
with
fear.
it. See, I can guarantee you that you will get away.
So an effective law is hardly a deterrent.
No, in fact, that's what we've been.
It's
necessary.
I don't think there is no fear of law. It is a question of the value system. They don't have values, and if they have some sense of values, they can have respect for law. These criminals, I mean the Mumbai criminals or Delhi criminals, what values you expect from them? They don't have values. This is degeneration of values in our society, decadence of values in our society. That needs to be addressed. And if you go and talk to them, they even
Kumar has pointed out
Okay, Doctor Diaz,
our system and our legal system and our evidence is based on mostly oral.
Right.
We can punish because scientific
Because
evidence
those-
is, semen stain. We
All right. Well, on that note, it's time for me to wrap up
Those
this
evidences
discussion.
are scientific and they cannot escape.
All right. So clearly, social change cannot be brought by law alone. Society at large will have to be sensitized. Only then can gender justice become a reality. What we need is swifter and faster trials, and that the law deal with it with an iron hand. On that note, it's time for me to wrap up the discussion here. I'd like to thank all my guests for coming to the studios. It was a
Thank
pleasure
you.
having you all here. That's it for now in this edition of Public Forum. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.